All right, we're live again. 106, number 106 we're on with Live with Spry, and we're still doing the same thing, hold conditioning. If we weren't doing it live, I probably would have skipped it. It's late tonight, but I talked about it yesterday and how I needed to become more consistent with it. So Steph said to me, you didn't go live today, and I didn't, so we're going to do it. So Jerry is in. Welcome, Jerry. We'll see some people start coming on. I'm going to do the same thing that I've done the last couple nights, where she's just going to have to be up here, and I'm going to have her, really the training starts right now, which is a little bit of an extension of what we had been doing before. We've focused on hold and the hold process, and she kind of caught on to that pretty quickly. Hi, Carrie. Carrie's in. Nicole's in. Brittany's in. So she caught on to hold pretty well, but I want to show that it's a lot more than, now we're getting to where it's a lot more than just hold. You got to get up, you got to sit down, you got to be patient. Last night she's probably sat for 10 minutes at least, 15 minutes maybe towards the end, where we didn't do anything. So that's going to be part of the training as well. So I'm going to have her settle in here. I just brought her out here. It's a little bit later than normal. Mike Schulte's in, Jason Erickson's in, Cam Cutters is in. Now, Cam Cutters and Jason, are you sitting with your phones in front of each other? You're in the same room with your phones? I'm curious, because Nicole and Mike Schulte, I think that's what happens. They sit on the couch next to each other and watch their own phones, because they got to be on, I think, on their own phone. But April's in. Hey, April. Marty got in. So I saw someone that shared it right away. Appreciate that. You knew that was coming. I was going to ask. I always ask. I don't ask much, but boy, I really appreciate it when you guys do share it, because I think it is by far the best way to grow awareness of it. I think if you know someone who's struggling, and it doesn't have to be just hold conditioning, it can be just about anything. I think that Jason said he's working. He's doing cattle chores. I think that it's something that, even if it's not hold conditioning that someone is struggling with, I think they can recommend or share it to them, because they can always go back and watch what we did, and we've captured just about everything with Spry to this point. We're planning on continuing. I think makes a nice point of, she's going on 9 months now, and when I say we're continuing, it's because we're nowhere near done. So it just takes a while. That's all right. So I like her focus. I picked up a bumper. She kind of came to attention. So Brad says she's looking good. Yeah, she's doing pretty good. Nicole says Mike's usually downstairs watching hunting. Well, I'm glad to see you two can get together on the dog bone live here. All right, so I'm going to put it in. I'm going to start out with the big one. Now, this is a tight fit in this little dog's mouth. I'm using these fire hose bumpers. These are the fire hose bumpers. You can get them on our website. This is the little puppy one, thin one, full size one. That's actually a large, or I think it's a large. We call them. There's one size in between called a standard. Hold. So I'm gonna go right out, get right into it with a nice hold here. Hold. Zach mentioned the hat. Chromer weather, my man. We're getting there. Hold. This is that lightweight chromer. I love it. I hadn't been wearing it for a while because I didn't know where it was. And the other day, our daughter brought it to me and said, "Hey, look what I found in my room." So hold. Boy, she's just got a real calm sense about her tonight. Hold. Real nice. Hold. Dead. I don't know that should come as any surprise. If you've been watching, we've progressed. I'm not going to let her take my spot. I'm here, so give me a little room. We've progressed to the point where I've asked her to start moving her feet quite a bit. Aaron Garlock's in. Good evening, Aaron. So I'm getting her to move her feet quite a bit. So now, sitting still, when I put this in a bumper, I thought, boy, she's really doing good with this. Well, yeah, she should. We've taken steps beyond it. So this part is kind of before I was like working to get this. Now, like, this is normal. This is the easy stuff. Sitting here and holding it, Dad, that's all you're going to ask me to do? Hold. So, this is easy. This has become real easy. So, that's good. We start out with it. Now I'm going to get her to move her feet again. Come on. Come on. Good girl. Now remember, this was quite a challenge. Come on. This is quite a challenge to get her to move her feet before. Come on. And now this looks pretty easy. Good girl. Come on. Come on. Good girl. She's just moving all over. Doesn't even hesitate at the ledge there. Come on. Come on. So 2, 3, 4 times I'll get her to move. Come on. Don't sit down. That's it. Come on. Remember when I used to work on her with heel, and I'd get her to sit. Sit. And I'd get her to sit when I stopped. I'd heel, I'd stop, I'd have her sit. Hold. I'd heel, I'd stop, she'd sit. I'd heel, she'd stop, I'd sit. I'd heel. I wanted that habit, I formed that habit. And then all of a sudden I decided I want to make her not sit, and I want her to be just standing and capable of just standing without moving while I heel, so that I can continue to heel if I want to, or I can set her down and do whatever I want. So I went to, and that helped me with starting to make turns. Well, that was a process. This has been a process. Sitting still and getting a real nice position, hold. That was a little challenge to start out with. Then we've moved her feet. That was a little challenge to start out with. Now she's real good at this. The feet part was a challenge for a couple nights. I don't think it's a challenge anymore. She just moved around like it was nobody's business. Hold. Hold. All right, come on. Come on. Now I move her again. Come on. Come on. And she moves nice and quickly. Come on. Come on. And I have real little concern with her dropping that bumper. Hold. Hold. I'll remind her. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on over here. Good girl. So now I get her moving around. Sit. Hold. And now I go back to hold. And I want that chin to come up. Hold. 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 After the third time, I'm going to put it where I want. I was giving her a chance. She was real slow coming up with it. Real slow. After the second hold, she did the same thing. The third one, no, I'm going to put it where I want it. Right there, hold. So now I hope next time it takes 1 or 2 holds and she gets to where I need it. Eventually, that's where she's going to come to. Just like when I put it in her mouth, she kind of statues up. Well, I've added some things. I moved her feet now. This time I moved her feet a bunch of times. Look how long this repetition's been. Hold. Hold. Very good. Hold. Dead. That's it. So, let's change something tonight. Let's make something new. Training dummy. I'm going to start out with it, hold. And I'm not going to make her move her feet with it because this is a new hold. This is a lot easier for her to hold on to. She's looking at me going, wow, I can see you really easily. Hold. Every time I say hold, that little chin just magically drifts up. I love that. Hold. Hold. Good. There's the position I want. Hold. Hold. And her eyes are really nice right now. Focused right here. Hold. Good. Hold. I'm going to test her. New object. I'm going to test her though. Hold. See how loose it is? Someone talked about a loose bumper before. That's a little loose for me. Hold. Hold. So she's got to get used to this thing. This is the first time it's been in her mouth for hold conditioning. Dead. That's it. Very good. So I'll do that 2-3 times before, and I'll get it real good before I ask her to move her feet. I don't have a problem moving her feet with bumpers right now. Hold. Got a lot of confidence moving her feet with bumpers. Hold. But this training dummy is new. Hold. 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 See how that taps loose? Hold. Hold. See if that makes a difference. Now, I talk about I like them making mistakes from time to time. That was not a major mistake. Her lips there. Hold. It wasn't a major mistake, but it was enough that I was able to give her a little tone correct. Her gums are there. Good. Hold. So I actually I welcome that little bit of a slip up on her part because I think she gets a chance to learn something. Hold. Hold. If you saw that subtle little flinch when I touched her here, hold. She's got to work through that. Hold. Good. Good. Hold. Hold. Good. Dead. Very good. That's a good girl. I'm going to move her feet. I'm going to reset her because this is she had a little slip up. I think she's actually going to learn something from it tonight. So come on, move your feet. Come on, here. Spry, come on. So I'm just this is kind of just resetting her. See? I'm going to go right back into it. Hold. She does not hold this as confidently as she does the canvas bumper or the fire hose bumper right now. Hold. So what does that tell me? Probably got to work on it. Dan, I see you got a question there. I'll answer that, Dan. If you guys got questions, fire away. It's a perfect time to do it. As soon as I get done, we'll answer them, kind of like we do normally. I think Dan's got one. I don't want to change my cadence with this dog right now because I got a nice little rhythm going. Hold. I don't want her to think I don't care about what's going on right here. Hold. Hold. Very good. Hold. Hold. See how wiggly that is? Hold. 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 Good. Good girl. Hold. The thing about this training dummy is a lot of different positions she could hold it in. It's way too loose. Hold. I can't wiggle. Hold. John Ballard had a dog that was loose, so this is what I want to do. Hold. Firm it up a little. Hold. Very good. Now this dog's got a nice soft mouth. It's just the way she is. Hold. I don't want to chain that out. Hold. Very good. Dead. That's it. That's it. I want to get one more good out of this. I'd like to see a little improvement on it. Hold. I'm going to take a step back and give her some room. She really is able to make a decision right now. Do I hold on to this thing like I think I'm supposed to, or do I? She wants to spit it out right now. She could. Hold. 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 Good. Good. Now I don't want to move her feet with her as loose as she is. That's pretty good. Hold. Very good. That's good, and the tail wags. That's a good hold. Dead. That's a good girl. Now, I don't want to mess around with moving her feet because her bumper was kind of loose. That training dummy was pretty loose. And I don't want to risk moving her around because I feel like we were getting better. We did it 3 times, I think, and I think the third one was by far the best. So I don't want to go too far and move her feet and have it loosen up because I feel like then I'm taking a step backwards, so I don't want to do that. But I am going to go back to a familiar fire hose with her. Hold. Hold. You can see she's not even sitting. She's standing. Hold. You can stay right there if you want to. You don't have to sit. She's half sitting because she goes, I don't know if I'm supposed to or not. I don't really care. I don't care, Spry. You can stand if you want. You can sit if you want. Hold. As long as you hold it nice, I really don't care. Now, this is something she's used to. I won't do this with the training dummy because I'd be afraid she'd spit it out. Come on. Come on. Now I'm going to move her feet again. Come on. Come on. Let's go. Come on over. Good girl. She's probably ready to go to the ground with with these bumpers. Come on. Sit. Sit. I'm going to turn this so you can see. Hold. I want her to go to a nice position. Hold. Hold. See the little chin going up? Hold. A little more. Hold. Very good. She's just real slow. And I can tell because I'm measuring it based on looking at this. I'm looking at her nose. And her nose was like at the bottom of the lights on the garage door. Hold. Watch it move up. Hold. Oh, oh, oh. There's my spot. Good. Good. It's subtle, but boy, it makes a big difference. Hold. 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 See, I don't even touch her, and she just moves it right up. Dead. That's it. Right. So, I think she's probably ready. She could go to the ground with a canvas bumper and move her feet. I'm not going to. I'm going to wait till tomorrow night because I want to get her feet to move. While I'm up here, I want to get her feet to move with that antler training dummy. So once I get that to happen, which is probably one more night or one more time, just maybe 2 times, depends on how the next time goes, then I'll probably put her on the ground. I think she's ready. I really feel confident with the canvas bumpers, or with those fire hose bumpers. I think the training dummy tonight was okay. It was better on the third one than it was the first. So that's good. We're always trying to improve. I'm going to go back because I know Dan had a question. Nicole says Spry's killing it. She's doing pretty good. She's coming along. Let's see. I got to go back. If you're new to this, welcome. A lot of these names I recognize, but I think we had a couple new people in last night. You said it slows you too bad. Do this so it would be better to her to not do this. You said it slows you to do this, so would it be better for her to not do this? Not sure what you mean, Dan. It slows you to do this. Not sure. I don't know. It must have been something I was doing at that moment. Zach had the same question. Slows me to do what? I think he answers it down here. Let's see. With your dog sitting on place most of the day, how do you get such a calm demeanor? Taylor asks. Well, I think that's part of the way I get it. I require them to settle in. I don't allow. So I think sometimes we think that the best way to get dogs to not be antsy. I think a lot of people look at it as almost like anxiety. There's a buzzword that's going around. Everyone says their dogs have separation anxiety, and I think some fancy vet came up with that idea, but I don't know if that's true. I think it's a lot like, our kids today a lot different than they were 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago. I don't know. I think we have different ways of describing kids that behave certain ways. And so dogs, I think, are the same. I think sometimes we can, and I'm not saying that there aren't problems out there, but I think a lot of it has to do with culture, the culture you're brought up in. So, probably with people as well as dogs. So, if you're brought up in an environment that feeds off of lots of anxiety and anxious behavior, and things are wound really tight where you are, I think it rubs off and it impacts our dogs. So, how do I get them? So the question you have is, with your dogs sitting on place most of the day, which sometimes they are, sometimes they're in kennels. Today, most of them were in kennels. I took Taylor and Spry with me today. Ellie was in a kennel. Yesterday, I took Ellie and Spry. So kind of is it varies, I guess. But so yeah, yes, they're on place. Indirectly, they're in their kennels, which kind of is a place for them as well. How do you get such calm demeanor? Part of it's genetics. I think some dogs are wired different than others. Breeds are wired different than others. But I've seen breeds that are supposed to be real hyper and high strung, and I've seen calm dogs with that breed. And so I think it goes back to a cultural thing. So I try, and trust me, I'm not laying around taking naps very often, ever. So I really live a really wound tight life, 100 miles an hour all the time, to the point of literally just put the computer away and realized at whatever time it was, and we were tucking in Sierra, and I didn't do a live yet. Oh my gosh, I gotta do my live yet. So After this, I'll probably answer more questions. It goes pretty steady. So my lifestyle and my dog's lifestyles probably don't mesh or match that well. So what I need to do is figure out ways around that. So by putting them on place and asking them and forcing them and making them just relax, they start to get to that feeling and that understanding of that's what's going to happen next. And my dogs sleep a lot. I don't know. What else are they going to do? We don't do a lot of high energy stuff throughout the day. So I think a lot of times people think that they can't get a dog to settle down, so let's entertain them. Let's keep them busy. And I think what that does is it feeds the wrong behavior. I think we did the Mighty Pet experiment that we're working on right now. And there's a Springer Spaniel there at Mighty Pet that is a really nice dog, and he settles in eventually. And you're going to see him because I got a lot of really good examples with him that I'll be sharing in the future here. But that little dog is wound, and he's really got like a little internal clock. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to extend his internal clock to be, we're going to force him to do nothing. So we're going to go further and faster with our training with him by slowing everything down. I know it sounds weird, but our training with him is going to be sitting and just doing nothing. And when he gets antsy and wants to do something, we're not going to do anything. And that's what I do with my dogs. When they get antsy, we do nothing. When they start settling in and doing what I'm really looking for, we might change things up and do stuff. But what I think happens is as dogs get antsy, owners adjust and try to appease that antsiness. And Chris Smith, he's probably not watching right now, but Chris Smith had this big issue because his fear was he was boring his dog. He's got her sister. His fear was, I'm boring Fee. So I'm going to try to keep changing things up and mixing things up and taking the next steps and moving along and literally moving along in training progression, but also moving along in that moment. Dog can't sit still, so I took it for a walk. I think that's okay to remove it from a situation at certain times, but if every time you do that the dog gets a little bit antsy, next time the dog wants to move, all it has to do is get antsy because you have been trained to move it. That dog has trained you to move it or do the next thing or keep the ball moving. So I think sometimes the best way to do it, Taylor, long answer to a simple question, but it's a cultural thing. That's just the way we do things. Let's see. Looks like fall is not far away. Pulled up the Cromer. You noticed too. Said he would be 80% done on hold, but only at 40. So would she be more responsive without us? I don't think it's because of you guys, Dan. So I understand what your question is now. We're not going slower necessarily because of this. I think when we do lives, sit down. See, she wants to go. So a lot of people right now would be uncomfortable and they go, oh, she's antsy and she's pacing so they'd let her down and then they'd move her around and do whatever and hope she settles back in. But I'm not going to. I snap my fingers twice and she goes, oh geez, here we go, and lays down. She's in for a little while. So, but back to Dan's question. I said something about it yesterday of I think I'd be 80, 85, 90% done with her if I had been consistent. I haven't been consistent. It's not because of the lives, it's because of life that happens. So, Dan, you guys, by doing lives, I don't think it gets in the way and slows me down. I think what it does is it creates static between me and her if I allow it to. So that's why earlier I said, question came up. I don't want to answer it right now. I didn't want to answer it then because I wanted to train with her and have her understand that she's got my focus right now. We're focusing on this hold stuff. And so I get in a little bit of a rhythm. I get in a little bit of a cadence. I get things start clicking. Dog starts learning. I feel good about it. We snowball, we get momentum going in every session. Sometimes my cadence is off, and I don't think we gain nearly as much. So I'm always looking to try to get that rhythm going. So when the camera is on, it gets in the way. If I'm jabbering to you guys. So that's why sometimes I just put it on a tripod, do my thing, then come back and talk. I can't interact as it's going as much as I want to, because I like to explain stuff. I think a lot of stuff goes through my head. So when I think of things in my head, I want to say them so I can point it out. But if I do that, it gets in the way. So I have to make little mental notes, and then I have to come back and explain it after. So that's what I mean by that. I think I'd have been further along and close to being completed with her had I done it every single day. But like I said, it just didn't work that way. So how many of you guys run into the problems where it's just really hard to be 100% consistent every single day? Man, we all do, I think. Okay, while I'm thinking about it, Tiffin did really good with her hold conditioning. I worked with her for about a month and a half. When I finally started retrieving with her, she went back to victory laps or spitting it out just a little out of my reach. I told her hold too. Should I go back to hold conditioning some more? Yeah, you didn't finish it, April. Real easy answer. Didn't get through it all. So if you got through it all, you would have zero. That would be eliminated. So the answer is you got to start back over. That was quite a while ago that you were doing that hold conditioning. So if the second my dog would spit a bumper or drop it out, it's the answer. Boy, we are not where we need to be. Back up, back up, back up, back up. There's holes. I got to fill them in. So yes, the answer is you have to really go back. Now I think this process and I'd start in the beginning. That was a long time ago, April. I would start in the beginning, and I would expect that it likely will progress quicker. So that's the good part of it. You'll get through it a little quicker. Wyatt Anderson went through hold conditioning 2-3 times with his dogs because he started, didn't quite finish, didn't have the end result, had to start over. Started, didn't quite finish, didn't have the end result, started back over. But each time he started back over, it went a lot quicker to the point where he had left off. And he saw it through. And he just sent a video the other day of his deliveries are beautiful, perfect with both of his dogs because he finished it out. He got through it. And now and I don't know if I'd say he's finished, but he's real close. I feel like we're going backwards with retrieving. Our pup was retrieving pretty consistently, and now she won't always bring the bumper or the shed dummy back consistently. Amanda, more information I need. How old? How often are you retrieving? The how old question is going to clarify a couple things for me. When did you start and when was it going good? At what point did something happen to create was there something that you'd say this is when, or did it just all of a sudden happen? So Amanda, let's talk. Same with us, Amanda. We haven't been doing retrieving during hold conditioning, so hopefully when we bring it back it'll be better. Yeah, you can't do hold conditioning. You can't retrieve during hold conditioning. It is a zero retrieve thing until you're done, and you got to be done. And I'll show you we're not done, so we don't retrieve. But when we get to the point, I'll show you how we figure out if we're done. We're not there with her yet. I can tell you right now we're not done. So by the time we're done with hold conditioning, this dog is making retrieves and delivering the same way that it looked tonight. So you gotta see it to the end. It's like baking a cake and you get all the ingredients, but you don't bake it. Well, it doesn't turn into a cake. Kyle got in. At what age do you start hold conditioning? It depends, Amanda. So I'm probably way behind because you probably have answered some questions since. But she's 8 months old. I probably wouldn't have started with her. She struggled with retrieving so long. Then she finally got into it a little bit, some pretty nice retrieves. And then I started hold conditioning to try to solidify it. And her delivery was never really bad. So I didn't really have any issues. I had more issues with her actually making retrieves than I did any delivery stuff. So there's no set answer. After teething, so 4 to 6 months typically is when we teeth. I like to get done with teething, and then I like to get into some retrieving before I do hold conditioning because I want it to be fun. You don't retrieve during teething. So when they're teething, we're not retrieving. So there's 2, 3, 4, with her it was 5 or 6 weeks we didn't retrieve. She had started retrieving a little bit prior to teething, not much. So with her, she's had a goofy schedule. So when she got done teething, she's getting pretty old. We've only been into this 2 weeks now. So she was back into retrieving, and the way I got her retrieving was water. If you watch back on all these old ones, I got her retrieving with water, and then I ended up, she kind of had a natural hold to begin with, and I used that to help me get her to retrieve. But she's different. Most dogs I don't have to do that with. Most dogs retrieve really naturally for me. Moja right now, that little puppy that we're training, retrieves better than Spry did before we started hold conditioning, and Moja's like 15 weeks old. So will Moja run into some issues? Probably, they all do. So there's no set age, but definitely after teething, and I usually try to wait a month maybe. I might get into a little bit of retrieving after teething for a month or so. And then the other thing that would flip a switch for me to say, hey, I got to do this is if bad habits start forming. If they start dropping, if I get to the point where I want to start using multiple bumpers and my dog switches, I have to do hold conditioning. I won't do that because I don't want the dog to start switching. It's a bad habit. Hold condition first, then I don't have that habit. So running off, victory laps, dropping short, keep away, anything like that, I say no more retrieving. We're going to have to fix it. Because if you keep going with those bad habits, it just compiles and it just creates more and more and more and more and bigger bad habits. When you say a kennel, are you talking about a pet porter? Yep. Not a big kennel. I don't have kennel runs. Our dogs are in their kennels or their crates on their beds or with me. So Mackenzie, you are spot on, dogs. Feed off energy of their owners. I work with different dogs every day. I present myself with a calm demeanor. I think they totally feed off of it. And it calms them. Labs are easy to excite and easy to calm. Just the same. So it's cultural. I'm running a little low on battery here, so I got to speed up. I think Mackenzie is on board with us. It's hard for us to understand dogs staying on place all day if they are not familiar with it. The dogs are so relaxed. It's hard for others to understand stay in place all day. The dogs are so relaxed while they're on place, but some think it is mean. Yeah, I've had some people say, it's awful you do that to those dogs. You can't make them. My dogs lay on there and sleep. They love it. I had a lady at a show, I've told this story before, come up to me after 2 days at a trade show. My dog got petted 10,000 times, laid on her bed all day. I took her out to go to the bathroom. I brought her back in. She barely had any hair left because she was petted so much. She met more people in that show than anyone. She was the most loved probably at that show. How many people missed their dogs and came and petted her. So one lady after the second day came up to me and said, that's awful that you put that dog in that place all day. And I said, looked at her, I said, what? What do you mean? She said, I can't believe you would make that dog lay on that bed all day. And I said, well, do you have a dog? She said, yeah, I do. I would never do this to them. And I said, well, where's your dog now? You know, this was out of town. This is in Minneapolis. We were in Minneapolis, and she was from another state. I said, well, where's your dog now? She said, it's kenneled. It's kenneled at a boarding place. I said, well, really? How many people do you think interacted with your dog today? She said, well, there's, they let him out and they do their thing. I said, this dog was petted by 10,000 people over the last 2 days. She slept with me on my bed, at the hotel. She traveled with me to the restaurants. She did everything with me. I said, do you think she's not have a pretty good life right now? She goes, you put her on that place all day long. I said, this dog, the only reason I can do the stuff I do with my dogs is because I can put her on her place all day long, and she's able to do that. I said, why don't you bring your dog and have them do this? And she said, because I couldn't get them to stay like that. I mean, I don't think that that's a rough life by any means. I'd much rather have that than be staying in boarding for 3-4 days until mom gets home. So after I said that to her, I said, trust me, I think that's a pretty good life. And she said, well, yeah, I suppose it is. So I do think some people look at place training as, boy, that's punishment. I've yet to find a dog that was place trained that really minded. I think they really like it. I bet if you started getting excited and talking high pitch, the tail would be wagging, she'd be ready to roll. We struggle with a relaxed environment. 3 kids, 11, 8, and 3, and it's hard to find a balance between keeping a calm pup and letting the kids have family they can play with. Have a family dog they can play with. Amanda, I totally agree. But here's the thing. it's cultural. You know how much you would love 11 and an 8 and a 3-year-old and kids aren't dumb. Kids are smart, and kids are like dogs, especially young ones, because they don't do things out of spite for the most part. So that's the beauty of dogs. They don't. But here's the challenge. This takes a completely different mindset of thinking. The 3-year-old, the 11-year-old, I know the 8-year-old and the 11-year-old can do it for sure, because I've got kids that were way younger than that were handling dogs and handling them well. If you can figure out a way for those kids to get on board with the idea of, let's figure out a game of our dog and how we can get it to stay on place, and when it stays on place, it's good, and then I can give it a little bit of love and praise. And you know how nice it is to have dogs that do that? Well, it's an effect that it can have on your kids as well. I'm not joking. Like, trust me, I understand. I see thousands of little kids come up to our dogs at places and want to freak out and play with them and wrestle with them and do all that stuff. And I say, no, here's what we're going to do. Can you help me train my dog? Yeah. Little kids. I say, so here's what we're going to do. We can't pet them until they're calmed down. And we're talking little puppies that are basically not trained. We can't touch them. We can't praise them. But you want to, right? Yeah, I want to. So here's what we got to do. We got to take a step back until they settle. And when they settle, we'll reward them for that. And then you can play them. You can pet them. But if they start playing them and they want to spin my dog up, I say, no. We don't do that. But pretty quick, that little dog gets big. And your dog's going to get big real quick. And once it gets big, it's not that cute little puppy anymore. So is it you want to have your kids wrestle with puppies? Go down to the pet place and let them wrestle with puppies once a week, because you're not going to wreck anything there. But at home, turn it into, let's always be training our dog. I think it'd be a lot more fun for kids to just run amok, play with their toys wherever they want, make the mess in their rooms, do whatever they want. It'd be a lot more fun for kids to do that, but we don't allow them to do that, because we realize, God, I got to form some good habits when they're young, because as they get older, those habits need to transfer. That's raising kids, not training kids. I want to raise dogs, not train them. So when you've got the family, I look at it as an advantage. You've got 3 trainers, an 11-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 3-year-old, and you've got built-in distractions. Now figure out how to use them. I know you're going, you son of a... I'm not joking. You can do it. But will it take time? Yes. Especially early on. But when I tell people to do certain things, it doesn't mean it's for the rest of your life. It means it's till you form a habit. And then when you form a habit, it's golden. And then you can just keep moving on from it and building it. It's all these little links. We build a chain with a lot of links, one link at a time. So I think you got to take a step back, reassess everything you're doing with all these little kids, and figure out, how do we get them to help train the dog? I can show you videos, Amanda, of little kids that get pretty excited about dogs that listen. And then all of a sudden they are becoming trainers, because their dog has to respond to them the same way. But you have to train the kids as much as you do the dog. Just like you have to train your husband. And I'm not saying that jokingly, I'm saying that serious. When it comes to the dog, you have to train them how to handle the dog the same way you do. Nicole, I was just thinking of you. She has the same problems, Amanda. I have a 1-year-old, and I'm always on the road around people, so it's tough to create calm. My pup is high energy. That's why we have to counter it. It's that same little speech goes to Nicole as well. And she knows it. We've had that conversation plenty of times. You need tempo spray. You need tempo sprayed around the windows. It kills us. Oh, I do have them. How old's your pup, Nicole? 7 months. Mine's 3 months. Oh my God, you got a baby. You got a little baby puppy. And now, the nice part about that, Amanda, is you have a blank slate. You can start 12 weeks old as a blank slate that you can create the best habits. And by the time they're 16 weeks old, 20 weeks old, man, are they nice, because these little dogs are responsive, under control. Will they lose it once in a while? Yes, but control the situation. It's very easy for me to pick up a little pup and put it in its kennel and go, I just can't handle it right now. So, but if they can't go in their kennel without being quiet, it's really hard to just put them in their kennel, because then they start crying and then they start whining and then the meltdown starts. But if you got that 12-week-old pup, by 12 weeks, I got pups that are sleeping in their kennels because they've gotten comfortable with them. And we've set them up that way. Which, Amanda, go back to these little Spry videos when she was that age. And maybe you don't start at 12 weeks, start at 7 weeks. Do the same thing at 7 weeks that we were doing with her, with yours at 12 or 10 or 8 or 9 weeks. I don't care. And it might not progress at the same time, but it doesn't really matter. As long as you get to the end, it doesn't matter how long it takes to get there. Thank you for the answer. Fiona gets hyper when I let her out of the kennel every afternoon, which makes harder in the beginning of training. But you gave me the answer. Slow down. Do nothing. Yeah, we just did it. We just did it at Mighty Pet. Dogs want to get wound up, they don't come out. As soon as they sit down and they settle in, I take them out. It might take a while. And you're going to go, I don't have time to do that, Jeremy. I can't wait 10 minutes every time before I'm going to bring the dog out. The goal is not to wait 10 minutes every time. The goal is to wait 10 minutes this time, 9 minutes next time, 8 minutes the next time. And the dog learns that the habit is when you walk up to it, the dog settles in. I don't wait 45 minutes to feed this dog before it settles down every day. But if you watch back, probably the first week that I was doing live with Sprys, I waited 45 minutes. I held on to this puppy for 45 minutes in my arms until it settled down. And then I set it down and I let it eat. And the plan was, I'll do it today so I don't have to do it tomorrow. And it's just going to slowly get less and less. Pretty soon, if you stick with it and you're consistent and you form habits, pretty soon it happens all the time. That happens. But it doesn't happen like this. So I think people go, I need that result right now. It doesn't happen that way. So find these little wins. Remember what they feel like, because there's a lot of losses involved too. But the feeling of the win has to get you through the loss. And you'll get through it. Less losses, more wins as the scales start to tip. Lots of losses, not a lot of wins early on. The question is can you get through it? Patience. David just hit it on the head. David had a great message today that he shared. David called me months ago, was really struggling, frustrated. He was like Nicole, but he was a guy. He was really frustrated. Nicole, you guys all know Nicole and I have had some conversations. She's been very frustrated with her training. David was the same way. And my answer to him was, stop being so stressed out about it and try to have some fun. Try to have some fun with it. Enjoy it. Enjoy your training a little bit and watch how quickly it'll go. It'll progress a lot quicker when you stop worrying about it not progressing. And boy, he's turning out a pretty nice little dog right now. Okay, I can do that. How do you know when you're finished? Because I really thought it was ready when I started retrieving with her until she resumed victory laps and dropping it just out of my reach. Well, you'll know. You'll watch us along. You'll watch us get with Spry. It's not like something happens that's a clear answer. Oh, ready to move on. We're ready to go retrieve. It's a lot of feel, April. So we're gonna get to the point by the time we're done, it's gonna be simulating a retrieve. It's gonna be almost a retrieve. It will be a retrieve. And as long as she delivers, I'll go, I think she knows what she's supposed to do. Then I'll do it again. Then I'll do it again, and I'll slightly change the scenario until all of a sudden she's making a retrieve and she doesn't even know it. And I'm getting the delivery because it's been brainwashed in. So it's not like we do a certain amount of time things on a table and then we go, oh, let's go test it and see if she can retrieve. It won't work that way. How do you know when they are teething? Teeth are falling out. That's such a smart answer, right? They're gonna get, gums are gonna get pink and bloody. You'll find teeth. So your pup is young, 12 weeks, probably not teething yet. Wants to chew on stuff. Don't give it stuff to chew on. You give it stuff to chew on right now, you're forming a habit. You're forming a habit of chewing. Chewers are created by us, giving them stuff to chew on. Ice cubes when they're teething, I'm okay with that. So how do you stop them from chewing on everything? I know that's the next question. Pick everything up. Don't allow the dog to free run, and pick the stuff up so that it can't get at it. Place training, kennel with me. Can't chew on anything. I avoid the habit. I don't have chewers, but I don't allow them to chew. It's a habit that's formed. So, but they'll be pink. Probably about another month, you might start seeing it, Amanda. A month to 6 weeks. But gums are going to get pink, sore. They're going to really start to, they just, like a baby, they get a little bit fussy. So keep an eye on that for that. Have you been doing videos with Moja? Not nearly as many, Amanda, from a time, because of a time standpoint. Now she's about 15 weeks, so she's a little bit older than you. But we did Spry, start to now. People are stupid. My dog gets to go to some amazing places because I have confidence she'll stay in this place. She loves it, David said. It's a pretty powerful tool. I put the cots down and our dogs jump on them. I don't even tell them. Same here, KM, we get the same. It's a conditioned response. That's something that's real comfortable to them. My battery's going to die pretty quick, so I got to get through this. You have great information, thank you, and I agree with everything you're putting out. Appreciate that, Mackenzie. Hey, Jeremy, I took a couple videos of my pup retrieving both a bumper and an antler. It was taken quickly before heading back to Florida, but should be enough for you to look at and give some pointers. Did you send them to me? She does not like to deliver the shed. Where should I send the videos? Just you can send them as a message to me, or why don't you do this, Kevin? Post them to Dog Bone, and everyone can see them, and then they'll know what I'm talking about when I start answering them. Dogs lay all the time unless motivated by noise, smell, or whatever. They do. You can leave them in a 10-acre enclosure, go to work, come back. They're going to spin around 10 times at the gate and wait for you. They don't need, it's not like they need an amusement park to keep them busy during the day. I need help with my training my kids to handle the dog, but we're getting better at it. I agree. Most of us do have to work to train those around us. Thank you so much for your help. This was good. No problem, Amanda. Now that I know you got a 12-week-old, that will help me too. Spry says Spry's a Spitfire, takes after Red. Well, it is Red's dog. Patience, routine, consistency is the key. You better believe it. The wins are so sweet. Hold on to them and enjoy it because you know you'll need it later. Okay. Thank you. Soon as she's done with her crate rest, I'll go back to step one with her. You bet. And Jeffrey Michael got in. So, good session tonight, guys. Lots of good questions. My phone's about to die, so I'm going to wrap it up. But that was good. Nice interaction. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for watching. We're going to continue with her. I think Amanda wants us to show some stuff with Moja, and I think Moja's owners wouldn't mind that at all. Moja's with them right now. We'll be getting her back this weekend. So that's an interesting dynamic. They live not too far from us. So Moja's going back and forth. And it's, some people, I could say a million. There's a lot of excuses. There's a lot of things we can make up of why things don't work well. And I could see people go, well, I have to, we split time with the dog. I just can't get it to work. No, we figure out how to make it work. You can figure out how to make anything work. So with Moja, we work on certain things. We work on making sure they understand what we're working on. They work on it with her because ultimately, Moja's going to live with them. She's got to do the same thing for them as she's doing for me. If I have shortfalls with explaining what we're doing to them, whose fault is it? Moja's? No. Most of the time when we have issues with dogs, it has nothing to do with shortfalls of the dog. Almost always. It has to do with us. So some people struggle to admit that the problems are with them.